Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Osio, Bonjour, Assalamu Alaikum. This is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor. Do you have questions about claiming your nationality? Are you confused or hesitant on how to get started or where to get started? Resources on what to study, questions and answers, maybe even a question on where to purchase an authentic fez. Help me help you. Book your session below. Use keywords Moorish nationality. Islam, Shalom, Hola, Aloha, Bonjour, Osio, Assalamu Alaikum. This is your brother Zach Bay, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live in full effect. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping new content. Leave a comment and interact with me. Thank you. I really do appreciate your viewership. Let's jump into another one. Back at it again. More current events. Hey, it's been a lot going on recently. A lot going on worldwide, nationwide. A few days ago, Donald Trump did the tariffs like worldwide. It's like 10% at least for most nations. Nintendo was talking about halting. Nintendo, based in Japan, was actually saying that they're going to halt the shipping of the Nintendo Switch 2 to America, and I'm sure that's going to slow down trading cards as well, anybody who's into TCGs. But you know, along with that, there's been talk about, in the wake of the protests, it's supposed to be going on today, April 5th, 2025, nationwide protests to protest, you know, some of the things that I guess Donald Trump has been doing, maybe protesting getting rid of the diversity, equity, inclusion, federal worker layoffs, things like that. As far as I know, most melanated people, most so-called black people, they're saying that they're not going to go out and protest. I know I'm on that wave. There's no need for us to go out there and protest anymore, especially in the wake of this whole federal segregation lifting and things like that. Most likely the nation won't go back to the whites only, color only fountains and restrooms and things of that nature. My guess is that's a preemptive step for if they're gonna fly over racist South African Afrikaners to America, you know, some of Elon Musk people, and they like to try to uphold that apartheid, segregation type of thing. But if you watch the trends, if you know the spending power, the economic power of the so-called black dollar, you know, our GDP is like 2 trillion. So, or around 2 billion. So it's like, I know the amount of finance that we have in this country equals the GDP of like other small nations, like entirely. So we have enough to actually, you know, unify and uplift our people if we can get all of our dollars moving in the right direction, you know, actually circulating within our communities. But I don't want to make this video too long. We're going to jump into watch a few clips and let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below and we'll be right back at it.
This is the first time that we've said we weren't going to protest, we weren't going to join in. And there's still protests taking part all over the country. Have you guys noticed that there's a very big difference in the way these protests are being conducted? These are the communities that are trying to gaslight you into helping and trying to make it seem as if it's all going to be us. We already know that. It's always been us. It's always been that way. But they're doing that because they are afraid to throw the first stone, which we've, you know, a few people have said. but they want us to do it. And they want us to do it knowing what our fate will be if we do. And my attention is going toward my people, it's going toward myself, my personal life, and fixing what I can fix and controlling what I can't control. But I'm not willing to be so self-sacrificing that I put myself out there when the contrast is so stark. Guys, really pay attention to that. These protests are so different. These are the most peaceful protests that I've seen, as far as the way that the police and everybody else interacts. Like, we've always been peaceful in our protests, but the way that they're handling these people, nobody's getting treated the way that we normally get treated. But what do you think is going to happen if we put ourselves out there? Pay attention to that, because people are trying to make it seem like it's all about the Latino people getting deported and all that stuff. No, first off, more than just their community is going to be deported. They aren't the only immigrants in the country, but also they already know what happens when Black people are on the front lines, and they really don't care about asking you to do that. Everybody's asking you to sacrifice yourself for them, when they wouldn't do the same for you, and they showed us that over and over again.
I recognize her, yeah. You right, darling? How's it going? You right? How's it going? Is there any reason you don't want to show your face? You're in disguise, I see. She wants to film us, but now she doesn't want to be filmed. Oh dear! Oh dear! Zionists are welcome here. Bye-bye, lady. Fake hijabi. Fake hijabi. Zionist spy with her Selfridges bag. You right? Taking off your red then. Fake hijabi. Zionist dressed up as a hijabi. No way, no way. No way, no way, darling. No way, no way. Oi, oi, stop, lie. Yalla, yalla, bye, bye. Yalla, yalla, bye, bye. I don't know, they're not being very... Bye, bye.
This video is for entertainment purposes only, TikTok. The representatives from the World Court, they're the ones who prosecute the presidents and stuff, have just now said that Israel is no longer recognized as a state and that they must evacuate. They have been illegally occupying Palestine and several other countries for years, decades, and it must end. Do y'all know what this means? Now, I'm not advocating anything, TikTok. I'm just stating what the World Court has just said publicly. That means by them announcing this, if the Saudis or Iran or any other country were to go and eliminate Israel, it would not be an international war crime, because they are now basically been labeled as defunct. That means it's no more, right? So that would give me rise to think. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that's why they've been controlling the United States? Because they knew that time was going to come and they needed somewhere else to go? What better place to go than the place you already control? Remember Netanyahu said they were going to go liberate Africa? They're going to try to spread them out all through the globe. I'm only reporting the news. TikTok, before you talk about community guideline violations, I'm only reporting the news. It's on the news. What's y'all opinion? The World Court now officially saying Israel is permanently defunct.
Right? I thought that information was pretty well put together, actually. So along with that, I also wanted to talk about, like, if we were to be on the front lines protesting, which I don't believe we should be doing that anymore. Our ancestors already did that. A lot of us in our day have already been doing that, and hasn't much come from it. And as the sister in the video was saying, how we see the response of how when other people protest, how the police presence is versus them, for when it's a cause for us and it's mostly our people on the front lines or on the grounds, or it's a cause for us and nobody's really there supporting us, and there's heavy opposition from like police presence, even National Guard, military and stuff like that. All right, I thought that was very, very important, the way people are, taking a step back and saying, no, we're just going to let our dollars, these boycotts, Walmart, Target, some of the other larger brands that we're using our economic power to actually affect. And I think that's the correct way to go, put our money where our mouth is. Then also, there's concerns about where is the wealth of America really going, like taxes being levied, fees, fines, people paying insurance for different things, insurance companies dropping out, falling out, different organizations, funds are being set up, and like the money is being stolen, So as far as figuring out what's happening to the money here in America, what's happening to the tax dollars and the taxpayers, I think this administration might be doing a better job of holding people accountable for that. That's just my personal opinion. But we're going to jump into some more videos and we'll be right back.
Yeah, on Thursday, ICE detained American citizens, a military veteran, and one of my colleagues and her son, who is 8 years old. Now, my colleague and her son are Black American citizens. They have Jamaican ancestry. They were detained for over 24 hours. That's how long it took us and lawyers to get them out of ICE detainment. And the son now has extensive trauma, and they are Black Americans. I'm not sitting this out. I just said in another video, I'm not sitting anything out because our community is going to need us. Black Americans were detained. That means they're not going after just people who are illegals, as you want to call them. They're going after whoever they can. And the 14th Amendment was an amendment that gave Black people birthright citizenship that were descendants of slaves. So if that is repealed and they go after one group, who do you think they're going after next? I'm not sitting anything out. Not when my community is going to need me. I'm not going to do it.
Yo, be careful what you have on your phone when you're traveling. I just got back to the U.S., right, because the boat returned to the U.S., and upon coming, I was randomly searched. And these dudes, they asked me a bunch of questions. I'm thinking everything's cool, right? And then right at the end, they're like, okay, we got one more step for you. This is an electronic search. So what that mean? They bring me to a back room. They make me take everything off, anything I got on me. They told me I need to give up the phone. And for me, at first I'm like, whoa, give up the phone? There's no way you going through my phone. And they giving me the little pamphlet. They're like, basically, we ain't no regular cops. Like, you coming back into the United States, this is Customs and Border. Anything you bring in, we can search it. And yeah, I had to give up my phone. Had to let them search through that whole thing. I be trying to know my rights, right? But it's like, this ain't no police. It's the Customs and Border Protection. Like, it's federal. So yeah, basically, I had no rights in that situation. I had to give up everything. They searched through everything they wanted. And yeah, be careful. Even if you're coming on a cruise or whatever you're doing, if you're traveling, when you come back to the U.S., you could randomly get searched like me. So you got something on your phone for me. Don't be dumb. They gonna look through the whole shit. And there's nothing you could do about it.
Excuse my face, I've been crying for 3 days. They're sending Americans to for-profit prisons in El Salvador for money. I'm sorry. They're sending Americans to for-profit prisons in El Salvador for cash. That's the slave trade. The man that I am referencing wasn't even accused of a crime. He wasn't a prisoner. He wasn't an American prisoner. Not that that would make it any better. He was a random American man who was kidnapped, sold to a for-profit prison, meaning he's going to have to work while he's there against his will. And the United States of America received cash based on his transfer to that for-profit prison.
Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming.
All right, so first of all, happy Liberation Day. I think today is going to be a historical day for the rest of our lives. I know so many people out there want to see arrest. I get it. But Trump has been teaching us a lesson. Today is about understanding how wealthy and how successful this country should have been and will be with tariffs, and how much we've been getting rigged by these other countries. Remember, he always talks about 1913. What happened in 1913? So going back to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, right? Then the Federal Reserve came in, took over, enslaved us all with taxation. All of their banking fraudulent system. Hold on. So not only is Trump trying to expose what happened in 1913, he's trying to teach us all a lesson on the old slave system that we've been captive of. And now we go into the new system. We get new wealth. We get our freedom back, financial freedom. And God wins. Love y'all.
The reason why PCH is closed and the people can't get in is because the feds, the state, and the city doesn't want you to see what's going on, or more specifically, what's not going on. Nothing has been fucking done.
Nothing is getting done, possibly because the private consulting firm that Mayor Karen Bass has hired to lead disaster relief in LA is a criminal organization, literally, that has pled guilty to stealing disaster relief funds. The firm is called Haggerty Consulting. We're talking about over $500,000 in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, stolen from people who have just lost everything. They were guilty of submitting falsified lease agreements and also expense claims for lodging and travel. And then they deleted emails and other evidence to try to conceal that fraud. I would say not exactly the ideal hire to do, quote, full project management of the recovery. Now, the question is, why did she do it? Which we can only kind of speculate about since we're not in her head. But if we take a peek into the political donations of one Haggerty Consulting, a pattern kind of emerges, specifically a partisan one. It was also reported that because Mayor Karen Bass declared a state of emergency following the fire, she has the authority to unilaterally award the contract without competitive bidding or a city council vote. Oh yeah, she's also been deleting her text messages.
Why am I just finding out that China owns EasyPass? You heard what I just said. China owns EasyPass. There are reports that China bought EasyPass for $1.9 billion. Oh, you don't believe me? Look at this shit right here. And for everybody that can read, it says it right there. Now, let me give you these expensive facts. Question to the government. Now, we just went through a TikTok ban because China supposedly owned TikTok. And to me, honestly, EasyPass is right up there with TikTok, because EasyPass stay in our pocket, and everybody who deals with EasyPass knows this. So on that paperwork right there, it says they have EasyPass for 11 years. So the question is are you gonna have the same energy to get rid of EasyPass as you had with banning TikTok? Because EasyPass has a lot of people's personal information, and that is a security breach. EasyPass has all our banking information. Easy Pass has our addresses and things of that nature. Wouldn't you say? I don't know. Everybody who sees this and knows it or knows about it, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Go on.
All right. Hopefully you enjoyed those videos. Me personally, I feel like the so-called African Americans, so-called Negroes, the American Indians, the Moors here in America, you know, my people, I feel like we have the least to be worried about when it comes to like ICE getting deported, getting rounded up, border patrol, not being able to be let back in, or being sent and shipped out in some form of like chattel slavery, right? I feel like we have the least to worry about when it comes to that, because the federal government knows who the American Indians are. They know who the real Americans are. Trust and believe it. You know, that the information is becoming more common, more widespread now, with a lot more people putting in work, putting this information out there, making TikToks, doing meetings, you know, powwows. A whole lot of forces are combining, you know, our people with the 13% server. You know, there's a lot of people working who know the true history, and even to talk about Donald Trump potentially removing the funding from the museums, like he was talking about the Smithsonian. He wants to raise it back up to its former glory. Talks about how the African American Museum is spinning false narratives and stuff like that. My idea is they might as well combine the African American Museum and the Native American Museum, because, you know, we are the same. We are the American Indians. So I really think that's important. Like I said, I don't want to make this video too long. Also, the concerns about China, you know, I think that's very, very important. You know, they might be the next major contender on the board, since they're buying up so much farmland and they're buying up different sectors here in the market in America, you know, dealing in commerce. So once again, this is your brother Zach Bay. Peace.